What was your favorite part of the Justin Fields era roller coaster ride? The click, click, click on the way up, or the constant screaming after various losses? Is the Fields era over, and are you surprised that he never beat the Packers? 0-6.
Well, I think there is a lot of screaming. It's that people who don't like the idea of Justin Fields coming back or predict or project the fact that he's moving on. This was quite a ride, a thrill ride with Justin Fields in 3 seasons and 38 starts. And the highlights were so intoxicating that I think that it made us drunk to the reality that he wasn't progressing as much as he needed to as a passer. And you can argue that, and you can say extenuating circumstances, and he didn't have an offensive line, and he never had the weapons until they traded for DJ Moore. And you'd be right. You'd be right. But that overlooks and too often ignores how he is yet to really polish his game as a passer. What does it look like? Watch C.J. Stroud. Watch Jordan Love. That's what it looks like when a quarterback is able to elevate the play of the people around him, lift an offense, and carry it into the end zone and move the chains in to a victory, to the playoffs even. So Justin Fields is going to be a starter in the NFL for many years. I don't think it will be in Chicago. It was a heck of a ride. It was unfulfilling ultimately. It is exciting at times, but disappointing at others. You wish him well. There's not anybody in Chicago that shouldn't be proud of the way that Justin Fields represented the Bears. I just think that as we sit here today, unless they find something that's so bad and egregious in Caleb Williams' background and his character research, I think they're going to move in a different direction.
All right, David, so you're saying that's it, over. The Fields era is over, other than what you just said there about Caleb Williams. I'll tell you what, yesterday sure didn't help. It sure didn't help. And there was a lot of talk before the game, right? Like, had the decision already been made, and should a 3-hour and 10-minute afternoon north of the Cheddar Curtain decide the most important position on your team? But boy, yesterday did not help one bit. Unfortunately, the things that you're going to remember the most, if it is over, is his escapability, the runs. It's not going to be the passes. It's going to be the runs that Justin Fields made over the years, the wow factors. But there weren't too many wow factors in the passing game. And yesterday, 16 attempts. He only threw the ball 16, allowed to throw the ball 16 times.
How many times they throw it in the end zone? They did one, right? That I could
maybe twice, but yeah, one for sure. Maybe twice. You're right. I mean, Mully, that's a great point. How many times do they actually put the ball down the field into the area where you actually get 6 points? I know I have been very anti-Caleb Williams. The other problem is I understand the love that people have for Caleb Williams. I just think it's a massive drop-off after him. I'm not in love with anything after Caleb Williams, if you even like Caleb Williams.
I don't know if they are either.
Right, and I mean that's why I think today I don't think it's over, but I think it's definitely. Here's what I think for sure: it's definitely not. He's back for sure. It could be over, but he's definitely not back for sure based on what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is a class guy. I thought he was class all the way to the end yesterday. I enjoyed hearing from him. I think he's got a fantastic perspective. I do believe the Fields era is over. And I'm not surprised that he never beat the Packers, because the Bears have never been good enough to beat the Packers. You don't feel like they had the better team. The Packers are a better team than the Bears. How as difficult as that might be to say, I think I'd prefer their coach situation, their quarterback situation, the defensive line. I mean, there are a lot of elements of the game of football that they are better than the Bears, in which they are better than the Bears. And I think that was driven home again yesterday. And if I were a member of the family, I would take that into account, and that would bother me. Because they've got a lot of, the Bears have better future assets than the Packers. That's great, but that's still you got to do your job right. You got to make sure you're bringing in all the right people. You know, I feel better about the Bears in terms of the general manager, the coach, than I did the year before. And I think that they've gotten some good answers, but it just feels like watching a game like that, you know, the roller coaster was there for you. That roller coaster hasn't died. You know, I saw a statistic that Justin Fields' record was like 4-18 in his first 22 games, and then he's been 4-1 leading into yesterday. So I thought to myself, well, if he goes 5-1, are we thinking about him differently? But he went 4-2. I just think it's you're asking a lot to make that decision, Dustin. I think that if you've got an opportunity for like an improvement at quarterback, I think it's incumbent upon the organization to take it, especially resetting the clock and all that.